All right. So, so we're here again. Yeah. So last time we, had an intro to web programming, and we talked about how the web works, what happened when you enter a URL like google.com or facebook.com or any website at all. When you enter that on your browser, the process that that it goes through for you to have something displayed on your page. This is just like a summary of what happens. And it's something that I think that it's actually very, very important that we know how we should be able to explain this to anyone that asks us, how does the web work? What happens when you type in www.facebook.com or when you click on an Instagram or when you click on your friends list, what happened? These are the things that happen. So first thing is that the URL is converted to the number, okay? Then this number is then used to request for the page, which is then sent back to the browser, and then you see it on the screen. So yeah, we've done that last time. And then also I've asked you to download these apps here. For us, we're using Visual Studio Code. So if you don't have it yet, please try and do so. And then, yeah, so for the front end, we're going to be looking at HTML and CSS. Just to remind us that we're going to be doing Python as well. And we're likely to start that very soon. I'll give you details before the end of this class. We're going to be starting that very, very soon. So it's going to be alongside this one. Okay, so this will be on Thursday, and then the Python is likely to be on Sunday. And I would really want you guys to attend the Python classes. Okay. All right, so let's just go right ahead. Again, what do we use HTML for? We use HTML to describe the structure. Basically, what you see on the page, how do you put those things on the page? You use HTML. When you open a web page and you see the items on the page, the elements on the page, you use HTML to put that. So today we're going to be looking at how we can structure our page, how we can create a page and put things on the page. Okay, so I gave you an assignment last time to go through the chapter on text, I think the chapter on the book to read through, so that when you come today, things will become a bit more easier. All right, so if you want to put a heading, like the headings you see on the newspaper, or you see on your book, your textbook, the front page, or maybe in the newspaper, or on the similar to headings you see on newspapers and websites, right? So if you want to do that, like large heading, you have the text and then surround the text with these tags. Okay, we learned about the tags in the last time. Okay, so it's basically in HTML, we basically mark up text. That's why it's called hypertext markup language. So we look at the text and mark it up. Okay, we'll mark it up to be a heading. So once we put this H1 at the beginning, and take note of it, it has this less than sign, greater than sign here, and then you have a slash, okay, the closing tag. Okay, we looked at it last time, and the H1 can be it has 6 different levels from H1 to H6. So the higher the number, the smaller the size of the text. Okay, so yeah, so you can try all of that. And then also we have the line break. So the line break, I believe we talked about the paragraph last time, so that's really no need to. So now we have the line break, this PR. The line break is just basically, it takes a text and puts anything that comes after it, it puts on the next line. That is what it does. So just like pressing enter on just like putting a cursor here and pressing enter on your keyboard. Okay, so it just makes the first line to be on one line and then the other one be on a different line. Okay, so just to break the page. So we also have the HR, which is also not the line break here. This is a horizontal line, actually not line break. So let me just quickly correct that. This should be horizontal. horizontal line. Let's go back. Yeah, so the horizontal line, not the line break. Okay, so this horizontal line, it acts like a line break, but it draws a line. So it's usually used, that's why I call this document structure, usually used to separate different sections as well. So you cannot draw a horizontal line. Okay, that's the HR. So by putting that on the page, you can see, you'll be able to see horizontal line. Then we have the divs. This is very, very important. So the div, it does not really have a specific meaning, but it acts like a container. Okay, so a container, like to divide, each, when you look at the web page, there are different sections. Like you have a section, for instance, if you go to Facebook, you have one part on your left for your friend list. You now have maybe a different part for you to type in your post, okay, and then another side for your own picture. Those are different sessions, and you use div to to group those sessions, to put those sessions together. The things that belong together, put them under the same div. Okay, that's one of the uses of this div. Okay, and then any question? Okay, so we also have span tag. Okay, again, I'm sorry, I made something here. So this should be closing span. Not, yeah. We also have the span, which is similar to div. Yeah, but the thing is that you put span in the middle of a content. Okay, in the middle of an element or middle of a content. For instance, now let's say you have somebody, you're on a page, you see that, okay, click on this. Maybe on in a sentence, you now see like an icon in the middle of a sentence. Okay, these are where span works very well. So just to put something in the middle of a content, okay, inside a content, but it does not really, we will learn more about it when we start doing CSS. Okay, but you can just use it to emphasize something inside the text. Okay, so just basically inject it in. We're going to, now this is an example of a section of a page. You can see we group everything in the div, and we have a title here, a heading here, we have a paragraph here, and then we also have the span in the middle. And then we have another subsection. You see, the H1, in every page, right, you have a single H1. You shouldn't have two H1s, because H1 is the main heading. There shouldn't be another main heading on the page. Okay, any other heading should be a subheading. Okay, like this now. That's why you can see here that the H2, okay, you can see the H2 here, which is a subheading. So it's a heading, but you can see this is the main heading. Like I said, H1 is the largest font, then the other ones are. Okay, so right now we're just going to go and, so any questions so far? So these are some of the tags, yeah, but we're going to go to our Visual Studio to really demonstrate how to implement these tags, okay, how to actually put elements on our page. All right, so I'm going to show. So any questions so far? So if there's no question, then we'll continue the live. All right. So I'm going to share again. This one. This is Visual Studio Code. Let me check, is this one? Okay. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So let's just apply the things we've been talking about now. So this one was what we did. This was what we did last time. So we're going to again, so in your Visual Studio Code, you can create a new file. So here I'm going to create, like you can see what I've just done there. You can just right click anywhere there and create a new file. So here we're going to just create texts.html. Okay. So why am I calling it text? Text actually makes sense because that is what we're trying to learn how to put text on a page. Okay, so that's why I'm calling it text here. So you can call it any name, but always call it the name that makes sense. All right. So right now we don't have, I'm just going to get rid of this. Okay, so the first thing we want to do when we're creating a web page, the very first thing is to declare the doc type, okay, which we learned last time, okay? So doc type, this is the first line. And what does this first line say? It just simply says that you want to use the latest version of HTML, okay? So that's what we call comment. So I'm going to add a comment to this. Yeah, so in HTML, you can add what we call comment. I'll explain what that means. All right, so this comment is just to explain what the line means. Use the latest version of HTML. And in this case, that's HTML5. All right, please, if you're not talking and if you, please always mute yourself, please. Okay. All right, so the first line of HTML is to tell the browser that you want to use the latest version of HTML. Okay. And let's see. Yeah. So that's the first thing you need to do, that you want to use the latest version of CML. Yeah, this line is completely ignored. So whenever you type in this exclamation sign with double dash like this, and then type something inside and then close it with this. This is a comment. So it's ignored by the browser. The computer ignores it. Okay, but this is what the computer will read. So if the computer is reading, if the browser is reading this line, it will ignore people of this, but it will read this. Okay, so this is just for our own understanding, right? So to help us to clarify our own clarification. Okay, so that is the first thing. Okay, then the second thing is for us to actually build the page. Okay, and to really check if this is true, I'm going to show you some web pages that are out there so that you see that every web page will start with this. Every modern web page will start with this line. Okay, so basically it says that you want to use the latest version of HTML. It also tells the browser that you want to build a document, a HTML document. Okay, I want to build a HTML document. That's also what it does, the browser. Okay. So the next thing is to actually build the page, which is you start with the HTML tag. You can see this opening and then a closing tag again. Then the HTML structure is the head and the body. Yeah. So every web page you see, right? Every website, every web page you see, this is just the structure. So you have this HTML. In fact, let me see if I can show you this. Can you see my browser, or what are you seeing right now?
You can see, yeah, the browser where you are inputting the head and the body.
No, that's not the browser. That's the Visual Studio Code. That's the code editor. I'm talking about the browser where I'm trying to type something. Okay, maybe I'm not sharing that. Okay, so don't worry. Let me just let's go back to this. Okay, so this is not the browser. This is not the browser. This is the Visual Studio Code, the code editor. We talked about it last time. Okay, so don't mistaken this to be the browser. Okay, so this is the app we use to write the code. All right, so we have the head, we have the body. Okay, so for the head, remember what we did last time. We just put the title. Okay, and we can call it, just call it test, just for, all right. And then the body, anything you want to show in the body. So if you run this right now, let's run it and see. If you remember how we've been running this. So if you have everything set up as we did last time, just go to right click and go to show preview, and then it's going to show. Right now, if you look at it, you see that there is nothing showing on this, on the browser. The only thing that is visible here is the test. Okay, you can see is a test that you're seeing here. Okay, so if you want to put anything on the body, all right, of course, you just have to put it here. So we can do, let us do a H1, for instance. This is the main heaven. So you can see on the left that as I'm typing, is showing there on the page. Okay, so that is it. Right. So let's just do a few tags. So I'm sure you are confident, we are familiar with this tag already. Okay, the heading tag. So it just used to, the heading tag just basically used to, add the heading to the page. Okay, so usually when you are asked to create a website, nobody's going to give you the tag, because people asking you to create a website, they don't really know much about it. So they'll just give you the tests. The text, maybe in the Microsoft Word, it's your duty as a developer to be able to convert it to something that you can see on the page. Okay, so we've looked at some other elements on this page. We looked at paragraphs. So and we did that last time as well. This is a paragraph. Okay, so we have a paragraph. Then we also have the line break. So I'm going to just do something here, just to write something. So I'll say official intelligence is concerned with the study of and the constructions.
Excuse me. Yeah, better.
Systems that will compute. So I'm just trying to fill up a test here, right? To add effectively. All right. And safely situations. So you can say I'm just adding something on the page, right? Right, because it's surrounded by this. Okay. Now, one thing I can do here, a couple of things I can do here, right? So if I want to highlight maybe a particular text, all right, I can use a tag. There are different tags. Okay, I'm sure you've come across the env. That's env tag. Okay, so I'm just going to put that tag here. So this will make it look italic. Okay, that's also the italic tag. Okay, sorry, that's sorry. What is it? A mistake somewhere. Okay, so this is emphasis. You can see it has made it look like this, all right? Like italics. You can see that's changed that. Now I can also add this, add a strong tag here. Like I said, it's just basically about learning the tags. And if you have done the assignment I gave you, this should be straightforward. Okay. So you can see we have made that to be bold. Okay. There's always also bold, okay, which is B. So I'm just going to do that here, P. I just do study P and then B. Yeah, so now the thing is, this is for bold, right? So what's the difference between bold and strong? Okay, so both of them do, like visually, they do the same thing, but semantically, it's not really the same. Yeah, so this is usually preferred. All right, so that's what we call, there are voice readers, okay, for people that are visually impaired, okay, we usually use voice readers to browse, to go through document on the web, okay? So this strong, we respond to voice reader, like it to be stressed. Whatever, when you're reading something like this effectively, people that are visually impaired, they will have they'll be able to know that the word is stressed, you know, like it's emphasized. Okay, so that's it. There's some importance in the word. That's basically what it is. But for this one, it will just read it as normal text. Okay, that's why it's encouraged for you to really, we discourage using this one, okay, for usability purposes, so that everybody can use your site or can use your app. So even the people that are visually impaired that uses voice readers, screen readers, of course, sorry, not voice, screen readers, to read the screen for them, okay? This is understandable by screen readers, this is strong, okay? Just as we have this env also is also preferred. We also have I, which is italic, okay, is basically the B and the I, they were older tags, older tags. So these are newer ones, right? So they do similar things. I see the safely now because of the tag. So both of them can work visually, right? They work exactly, they look exactly the same. There's no difference. Okay, it's when the voice reader is reading the page, sorry, the screen reader is reading the page, that's when the difference. So this will be read as a normal text. Why this one will be emphasized? Because it's using the tag, the strong tag. Okay, so let's do something here. Use this tag. Okay, you can see the line there. All right, can you see this line? So because of this tag, like I mentioned, that this tag is used to draw a horizontal line on the page. Okay, so with this line, I can actually start maybe a subsession, okay, and say moral agent, okay, intelligent agent. Okay, so I can do that, and then maybe start a paragraph and say an agent. Entity. Seems environment. Okay, you can see this is another one. By just putting this H2, I can decide to do H1, but it doesn't make sense. All right, that you have two headings. All right, and it also be confusing for search engine to be able to discover the site you have built. Okay, that's why it's basically we discourage you from doing that. Okay, it's highly discouraged. Okay, so use this. So this is how you add it. You can see we're building up the stuff right here. All right, now we can have a subscript. Okay, so we can have a subscript. So I will just do let me just do H2. Of course, you can have more H2 because you can have different subsections or subheadings. Okay, so I'll just do subscript and superscript. Okay. So in that case, you can have something like this. H. Okay, let's just do P. Okay, and do H2O. Okay, H2O is water, but you don't want it to appear like this. All right. So how do you do that to make sure that this appears and that you use a subscript? So by doing this, putting the 2, okay, not the 0, not the O. So put that and then put a sub. So, okay. Sorry, there's a mistake. Yeah. Okay, so that's how you get that. And also, let's say you have this. What's today's date? Second of November. Okay, so you can do this as a superscript. But just putting a sub. So you can see just learning HTML just about learning these tags. Once you learn the tags, you've learned the HTML. See that? Okay. And also, let's see how we can break down this line by using the break BR. Okay, so I want to cut it off from compute. Okay, maybe systems from system. I want to cut it off so that the next line will be on a different line. So I can just come here and put line break. Okay, and then it cuts that, creates a new line. Okay, and that falls into that. Okay, so these are the tags. Right, so these are the tags that we've learned about. Yeah, in the assignment. All right, so any questions so far? So with this, you can, you can see by adding all these tags, by understanding these tags, you can easily build a web page. All the things you see on the web, you can easily build them. So any questions so far? All right, so again, a good thing to do here is, since it's a different session, we can just decide to put this in a div. So I'm just cut all of that and put that. The divs act like a container, but nothing will change, of course. All right, but it's very, very useful when you're building applications, when you're building a website. Okay, so here we can now see that we can do. And I also told you about attributes, so I can call this class introduction. Last time we talked about attributes that can provide more information about the element. Okay, so here now, with this now, we know that this is part of the element is called the introduction. Okay, I can also come here and the class or ID, you can use it anywhere. Okay, I can also come here and say and put another class. Okay, in any tab, you can put a class, like I mentioned last time. Okay, I'll put another class, call it description, doesn't matter. Let's say agent dash description. So this will be, the importance of this will be really seen when we start learning CSS. Okay, again, to build the structure, to put all these things on the page, you use HTML. That's just what it's used for. Okay, so we're going to learn more of these tags. All right, going to learn more of the tags. And another one I want to show, okay, we've talked about the and the difference between this one and this one, it has no semantic meaning. Okay, so that means that when a voice reader reads this page, it reads it as a normal text. Okay, but in this case, this one will be emphasized in a way because it's using the M and not the italic. This had the safely one will not be emphasized in any way. It's just for visual purposes, right? But meanwhile, this other one by screen readers, this will be emphasized, which is effectively and also the internet. So that is why we are encouraged to always use the strong and the M instead of the bold and the italic. Okay, so we're going to rejoin again, and then we'll look at more examples. All right, so it's going off in a bit. So we're going to rejoin and look at more examples. Yeah. So if you have any question, please do not hesitate.